Ladies and gentlemen, let's game into the video. Let's discuss some graphic stuff, shall we? Primarily, this is going to be focused on the PlayStation 4, but does kind of give you an idea of what's coming up for the next generation of systems, as well as, of course, the PC. So, according to the lead artist over at Naughty Dog, his name is Frank Tzeng, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, Uncharted 4, A Thief End is going to be really close to what we're getting in movies. In fact, he said game quality is really close to films right now. Look at the stuff we do in Naughty Dog. This character, I'm telling you guys, is, by the way, of course, referring to Drake himself. This character can be easily a digital double in a film, based on the quality, the detail, the blend shape, the colour, everything that we put into the character. This is basically a film character to me, so to me, video games are getting really close to film quality, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. He then decided to add a little bit more regarding the PlayStation 4 specific architecture and performance to give you an indication of kind of what's coming up. Unfortunately, it's not super duper technical, but still, I'll throw it in there anyway. As we get more powerful consoles coming out, so right now we have the PS4. It's definitely more powerful than the PS3, and that enables us to put out more polygons, you know, using high-res maps and get more resolution in game, making more expressions, making more blend, more shapes, more wrinkle maps. All of this is getting us one step closer to the film quality that we wanted to put, we wanted for the game industry, and I think a few years we're going to get there. Now, if you think about all of this, it makes some sense. Obviously, as higher levels of performance from hardware enable developers to increase realism, it's not just about shiny, you know, high-resolution frame rates and shiny textures. There are a lot more to it, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, for graphic artists, things aren't always perfect. You might recall that, especially back in the early PS2 and Dreamcast era, if you look at the graphics, ignore the texture quality and so on, and maybe even to a degree the polygon count, but actually look at some of the environments and, say, the characters. And even if an area is well lit, you'll notice that one of the problems with the characters is they often look, I guess the word's too clean, a little bit like a porcelain doll. So you won't have, like, for example, minute hairs appearing on their forearms, so you won't have, like, small wrinkles and smile lines, or little bits of dirt, or spots, or whatever the hell. Which help to actually add the illusion of you know, realism. Because at the end of the day, you've got like pores on your skin, and you know, all of that stuff is not exactly 100% visible. You know, not everyone's walking around with massive potholes in their skin, but everyone does have them. And so, even little things such as tiny shadows and slight blemishes, there's only a certain amount you can actually do with textures, and some of this stuff actually really increases geometry. It increases the demand on the GPU or the CPU, for example, calculating the way that a character is standing in relation to light sources, and it has to actually obviously calculate, oh, there's a spotlight to the person's right, and therefore the shadow should be facing this direction, and so on and so on. And we're basically getting closer to it. I don't necessarily think we're there yet. I think games do definitely look better, and there are some really beautiful looking titles, but it's really amazing to me how if you look back at a game that you kind of considered looks amazing back, you know, 3-4 years ago, and now it can look a bit ropey. I was recently looking at Tomb Raider on the PC, and it looks really good, there's no denying, but I think, you know, when the next Tomb Raider comes out, it's going to look even better still. And even if we want to stick to, say, Uncharted, I remember there was a couple of sections on Uncharted 2 that genuinely, because I played it on release day, that was a bit of a saga. Actually, no, I played it 2 days after release day. There was a massive saga to do with my copy of Uncharted 2. Basically speaking, it got lost in the post, so I had to end up going to a store to buy it and then claim it with lost parcel and blah blah blah. But anyway, eventually I got to play the sodding thing, and I got to like this ice cave area. I'm pretty sure it's Uncharted 2 that has the ice cave. And I just looked at the lighting and the way that, you know, just the whole aesthetic of the area, and I thought to myself, holy crap, this looks beautiful. And it looked so good I had to show a couple of my friends, and even they agreed it looked really amazing. And obviously some of this stuff does come down to frame rate, obviously some of this stuff does come down to the resolution of the scene and so on, but at the end of the day it does also mean quality of the pixels and so on and so on. But anyway, I'm quite excited for the future, to be totally blunt with you. I think that the future is going to be really interesting. And obviously, it's still really early into this generation of console, and I don't necessarily think that we're going to have the GPU performance to really push 60 frames per second film characters at the moment. I think that, you know, this generation of consoles maybe doesn't have it, but I think when we get to the PS5, assuming there is a PlayStation 5, they might just go and do it as a service for all we know, but let's assume it is actually going to be a physical console on the PlayStation 5. I think that type of system, I mean, who knows how much performance it's really going to have. One can assume it's going to be at least 4 to 6 times more powerful than the PS4, right? You can make the assumption anyway based on historical evidence of how other consoles have evolved, so we can start imagining just what is really going to be available to developers at that time. I mean, we're probably going to get a system that's got, you know, maybe 24 gigs of RAM or something ridiculous. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It's not been a super duper technical one, but I think it's been a bit of an interesting voyage into the future if nothing else. So take care, my friends. Bye for now.